In terms of what Community Engaged Scholarship is, I think that's a tricky question. There are a lot of different answers to that and a lot of different approaches.
Community Engaged starts with the community and ends with the community and involves the community all the way through.
It breaks down the ivory tower and helps people to engage with each other instead of to be very focused on just a problem.
Working with the people is how I'd like to pitch that. And putting the projects in people's hands.
And together you collaborate potentially on a project that you both are interested in. That's community engagement. I'm engaged because I have an interest in the topic. You're engaged because you have an interest in the topic. And we've come together and to create that sort of project.
It's about developing a relationship, and then you can talk about, you know, what your needs are, what your feelings are about a specific project, what your thoughts are, right? I think people are more open to working collaboratively and reciprocally if they have that core relationship.
What I find most exciting about it is that it's a different way of doing research, a different way of doing teaching. So it's not simply saying, I'm going to take my research to the community. It's actually saying, I'm going to work with a community partner and develop a new research question that's going to require a new methodology, a new type of technique to get at the answers. And those techniques, those methodologies emerge from the community.
It's not just knowledge for knowledge's sake, but it's really trying to work with partners to develop research that is going to be meaningful and hopefully affect some change on the ground.
When we started, it was really sitting at the university and brainstorming ideas of what students might work on. Now it's going around and drinking lots of cups of tea and asking people, what do you see? What do you think is important? And that's really changed the direction of this program.
Building a partnership, building up trust takes time. And deans, department heads, senior administrators don't always recognize that there's going to be some slowness to the outputs that they're wanting to measure. They want to measure grants that are received. They want to measure publications that come out. Community members are looking for a trustful partnership and a relationship before they really share their information and partner in that meaningful way. And they're also looking for getting things that have a pragmatic, applied approach.
One of the important things with community-based research is getting, being really careful with the relationship between the university and the community, and that the engagement is more meaningful and more ethical, and that it's driven by the priorities of the community and conversation with the community.
I think it's fundamental to doing good research is to getting communities engaged. The kinds of problems and the kinds of questions that my research team works on, we need that feedback immediately. We know we're on the wrong track when the communities are giving us feedback and saying, no, this is not the right way to do it. Here's some ideas. And a lot of our research ideas have come directly from people in the community saying, hey, have you guys looked at this? This is a serious issue.
To do it in a meaningful way that honors the partnerships that I have, that's my main goal. And so I have to be careful not to just sort of take as much data as I can and then turn it into a publishable material. I need to find a way to use it in a way that gives back to the community.
You have to go in recognizing that everybody has to win from this. And I think if you go in with the notion saying, okay, what am I getting out of it, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Hopefully what we're building towards is like these kinds of empowering relationships between people that's about looking at everyone's strengths and how we work together.
You know, we're looking at a spectrum of activities there. On one side, you have full-on engagement where the project, the research, the teaching has all been designed with the community from the very start, and they're involved in the conducting of the research, involved in the teaching, and involved in the assessing of the outcomes. And on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who are just doing some outreach. They're sharing information with community members. And then there's that whole range in between. And what I'd like to see happening, and what we're seeing on campus, is people are starting to move this way.
So by engaging community, we ensure that there's a good understanding of our project, good input on our design, and help us to interpret our results.
I'd like to see the university and continued conversations about how do we put the community needs first. If we're going to go out into the community, engage with the community, it's got to be done really with that priority in mind, rather than what can we get out of it, or what can our students get out of it, or how can our research programs benefit from engaging with community.